So everybody, my name is Doran. I'm a general partner at TCV. I help co-run the firm. I'm based in London. TCV is a West Coast investment firm. And I'm here with one of the, I would classify as legendary founders from Europe, founder CEO of Revolut, Storonsky. And we're here to chat a little bit about financial inclusion, but also hear more about Revolut and what they're up to. So maybe if I start to tell a quick story how I first heard about Revolut, because I think it's instructive in where we've gotten today. I'm Irish, and I was in this small little cafe in Wicklow, which is a county outside Dublin, and I was trying to buy a coffee and a pastry a few years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago, and I saw this woman and she was paying with a multicolored card. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. What's that? And the cashier answered for her. She's like, oh, that's Revolut. Everyone's got Revolut. You check it out. And so I did, checked it out, got the card. It was a wonderful product. And back then, there were about 1 million, maybe 1.5 million users of Revolut. And today, just to give people a sense of the scale of the business, it's gone from 1 million customers to more than 40 million signups. And they're adding about 1 million a month. So at that time, they had about 1 million, they're adding about 1 million new users a month. They're operating in over 150 countries. And the app is the most downloaded app finance app in 17 of these countries. Number 1 on the download charts. And they continue to accelerate. So they've had 64% increase in daily actives, DAUs, in 2023 over 22. They've just hired 3,000 people from 2021 to now, so they just passed 10,000 people. And to give you an idea of the scale of the business, they passed $2 billion of revenue in 2023 and about $350 million of net income. So it's an incredible success story, and it's my pleasure to be here with Nick today. Maybe my first question, Nick, just to get started, for those in the audience less familiar with the business, and there's probably not that many who don't know Revolut, but can you tell us a little bit about how you got started and how did Revolut come about?
Sure. So I started about 10 years ago in London, and I started with a very simple FX multi-currency card. So it was my personal problem. I often traveled abroad. I was also an expat living in London, and because back then I was a trader, so I was very good with maths. So every time when I spent with the card, I always calculated in my head how much commissions I wasted with the banks. And that's how business started. So I launched Revolut first as a simple prepaid FX card. Later, as we get more customers, more funding, I discovered more and more problems with financial services. That we added bank accounts, we added crypto, we did credit, stock trading, and then we tried to make every single product much nicer and much cheaper compared to everything else. And as a result, it became a truly digital bank, which offers not only services for banking, but also for wealth and trading, for crypto, for insurance. So we packaged it all very nicely in one simple app. So you go through onboarding process once, and then you got access to all the products that you need. Now we have more than 40 million customers. So you mentioned Ireland. In Ireland, we now have 70% penetration of population. That means 2 out of 3 adults in the country use Revolut as their bank account, which is pretty amazing. And I think we're just getting started.
Yeah, that's an incredible stat. 70% of the country using the product today in only a few years. One of the things we're here to talk about is financial inclusion. I know it's really important to you. And I think Revolut is one of the, I don't say uniquely positioned to address it, but can you talk a little bit more about the goals you have for Revolut around financial inclusion?
Well, ultimately, what we do as a business, we give the best product at the best price fast, right? Because if you think about what we do, we're not only about saving money, we're about saving customers' time, right? You don't need to go to the branch to open an account. It's all digital. Plus, we optimize every single click to make experience as seamless as possible. And because in reality, current financial industry is so difficult. There are so many corner cases. As a result, we package everything in a very simple system. So we onboard as many customers as possible digitally. As a result, we can save them millions and millions of hours every year.
And a lot of people talk about financial inclusion, but tell us a little bit about some of the challenges What do you need to be successful there? How do you get where you're trying to go?
Well, we want to build a truly global bank. No one in the world ever achieved it yet. I think the last attempt was done by Citigroup and then JP Morgan, but since then they're actually retracting from different countries. And then the way American banks did before, they simply bought banks in other countries and then tried to merge systems together. But it's a very difficult way to expand because different systems, they don't really talk to each other. As a result, we have very different apps, different products in different countries. On top of it, we have all these regulations, compliance, laws applicable to different systems. And it becomes very messy, it becomes as a spaghetti, so you cannot really control it. As a result, all these banks, they kind of bought a lot of banks, realized it was a wrong decision, now they're kind of selling banks back locally and retreating from being global to local. So we have a very different approach. So we build unified software, unified products, and then we make all these software and products modularized. So what it means in practice is that for us to enable any single country, we are not writing things from scratch. So we are just building products as a Lego cubicles. So we enable certain screens in one country, we disable certain screens in another country, and our software is unified. As a result, we can launch the same product in every single country. And because additional costs of launching these products in a new country is super small, right? You just need to hire additional, 30, 40, 50 people in the country to face regulators. Then it becomes a very unique proposition because we provide the best product, best UX, best pricing, really saving you a lot of time in every single country. And because our costs are fixed, we're able to compete with local banks just offering the better product.
I mean, one of the things that I think differentiates Revolut is you were multi-geo pretty early on, right? A lot of folks have tried to go international, a lot of financial apps, fintech companies, and not been that successful. And you guys have been incredibly successful. I think a number of countries today, depending how you measure it, 100 plus, 150, is that?
Number of countries, we were now in around 40 countries, 39 countries, yeah.
And so what has been in your mind, the biggest reason for you being successful? What are the learnings that others can take that maybe others haven't quite achieved, and why not?
I think we as a company are very systematic into how we approach solving problems and building businesses, hiring people. We are all about know-how. As soon as we have a certain problem, then we try different things to solve this problem. And then if something works, we systemize it. So we have playbooks, steps, manuals, how to do things. So very systemic about any area in the company, including expansion. So I think that's the key to success in business, our ability to build machine effectively, that replicates itself all the time.
And how important is being local product, local partnerships, local regulators, local teams? Do you think that's critical? Is that something you guys need to have, or how do you think about that?
I think by design, because our business is regulated, and then we must be local, because every single country, they have their own laws, their own requirements. As a result, we need to be super local, because we need to follow all the rules, laws, be compliant with everything. Secondly, we need to integrate into a local payment system to facilitate local payments, local credit as well, local, stock trading or different assets trading. So financial products, well, fortunately and unfortunately, are very local, right? Unfortunately, because it's super difficult to expand because of that. Unfortunately, because as you've done it, you're very protected.
Yeah. While you've been successful, there have been some countries that have done better. You mentioned Doran, 70%. I know the UK, you're doing amazing. I think Spain more recently, France as well. The countries where you've not done as well yet, what has been the reason in your view, or why you've been more successful in some than others?
I think it's pretty simple. So where we have for banking license from start, we were able to scale quickly because we offered all the composition of products that we have, and people love our product, right? So product speaks for itself. But then in countries where we're not able to get our banking license, as a result, we went to get some restricted licenses, which didn't allow us to fully launch the product. really much less successful because in the end it's about competitions. It's about like, who offers the best product to consumer. And as a result, like, in certain countries, we're not able to offer all the products that we have. So our product is quite limited. And the growth is a bit less compared to the countries where we have banking license. So banking license in the country is usually the key.
Got it. So I guess you're investing pretty big time there, I guess, across the board.
Yeah, so our strategy is like to be a bank in any single country where we're in now and where we're launching.
Got it. One of the things that I'd say from that experience when I was in Ireland, the cafe, was the product is just delightful. And I would say with Nick, I don't use this word lightly, a lot of people describe Nick as kind of a product genius. Anybody who's used the app, there's 50 different products integrated into the app seamlessly. It's really an incredible experience. As somebody who manages, I literally manage my entire life using the Revolut app today, school fees, you name it. Can you tell us a little bit about your approach to product and how it is that you consistently are able to delight customers? What is it that's unique about that? There's some insights there that I'd love to unpack.
Well, I think that the key for any product person and for any CEO who really focuses on product is to review screens yourself, right? So I have quick reviews. I spend probably about 2 days a week going team by team and reviewing designs, everything. That's super important. I test the product myself. I ensure I have the best product people, the best designers as well, so I have a verified talent bar for people I hire. So overall, it's approach of excellency in product in what we do.
And I guess the most recent launch is Revolut 10, is that right?
Well, I mean, we have the other launches.
Since then?
Yeah, for example, we launched eSIM, which is pretty popular at the moment. So eSIM allows you to avoid roaming fees when you travel, so which is pretty cool.
This is the phone eSIM?
Phone eSIM, yeah.
Got it, okay. What else? Ultra, I guess?
Well, Ultra was a while back.
Yeah.
So right now we're actually focusing on going deeper in any single country and setting up local banking branches, local IBANs, going very big on credit products, credit cards, loans, releasing mortgages as well, overdrafts in some markets.
One of the topics that I want to just shifting a little bit, talk about is AI, and there's been a lot, I would say, a lot of hype, a lot of excitement around AI. There's been a number of fintechs that talked about how they're using AI to help their business. You and I have had a bunch of conversations around this over the last 6 months to 12 months. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing in AI, how it's helping Revolut, where you see the opportunity, maybe perhaps the limitations?
Yeah, for AI, there's definitely a lot of hype around it, and I mean, so far there are limited use cases, at least for our business. So basically, with LLMs, we used to have a chatbot run on not on LLM but on different models, and obviously LLM is much more superior. So we fully rewrote it, and now it handles about, I would say, 40 to 60% of all the chat requests with our customers. And the quality of it is pretty nice. So it's in line with our kind of agents, human agents. So we effectively are able to reduce our headcount of our customer support agents by 40 to 50%, which is pretty good, like in terms of cost saving. Another application is obviously translation, because we're in 39 countries, like in I don't know, like 25 plus languages, probably more. We used to have 90 translators in-house, just busy every day translating FAQs, terms and conditions, notifications, and so on. A full-time job. Like I think it was 2 translators per language, 80 overall. Now we're using LLM to do translation in an automated way, and then translators just checking it. So again, cost saving, because we don't need to have so many translators. So another application of AI which we did, well, we started using quite a long time ago, is obviously anti-fraud AML as well. Works very well, so we have very high precision and high recalls on our models, and then we probably have more than 40 models against all their kind of scenarios for money laundering, for fraud prevention. What else? Customer lifecycle. So customer lifecycle is we onboard users. So what we figured out is if we just nudge certain users at a certain point of time to start spending with the card by offering 1 month, 2 months, 3 months cashbacks. So we are able to improve for our retention, 2 months retention, which yields quite nice ROI. I mean, we have like pieces of models like everywhere, like in marketing as well, in performance marketing. So the whole business is actually run on models, and all the models are kind of run on kind of modern, well, rather modern. I mean, all the models are known already for the last 20 years, like random forest, boosters, and so on. So we as a company actually started applying all these models very, very early on before the hype. But rather than that, I think overall as a direction for AI, I still cannot really understand myself why to train a model, like LLM model will cost you $10 million plus, when to train a kid, right, is actually much less, and kid will be actually smarter than LLM, right? So for me, it's like, direction-wise, something is wrong with it. I think the architecture itself needs to be changed to make it much cheaper.
So you're saying the design
of the neural network, with the transformers, I think is wrong, right? Because they're just too expensive to train compared to a human.
So I know you're excited to be here and you love this region. Any advice you might have for budding entrepreneurs that are out there building either fintech companies or even more broadly just tech startups in general in the region? It hasn't always been easy for you in Revolut, and so any kind of words of wisdom you'd love to share with folks here?
Yeah, I mean, I love the region. We as a company, we love the region, so we are moving quite a lot of people here, and we want to launch the product here as well. So I think UAE is the key to Middle East, and then maybe in the future to Asia as well. And then it's actually uniquely positioned with working hours, because I love to work from here because I'm 3 hours ahead of London, and that makes my morning super productive. And I know other people enjoy the same experience as well. So it's pretty uniquely positioned between Europe and Asia, and definitely it's a key to Middle East. So starting business here, targeting Middle East, and then hopefully expanding to Asia or to Europe, it's a very good location.
Yeah, I love that for the same reason, being 3 hours ahead, get out, get some work done in your head. It's a great place to visit. I do want to touch on when is the product going to be available here? Can you talk a little bit about that just for people so that is it 2025 you're launching, or?
Well, I hope so, maybe end of 2025. So we're applying for licenses, and a license usually take 1.5 years to receive.
There's already people, I guess, on the wait list or using it, or it's the...
So we have quite a large waiting list here. It's I think it's about 100,000 people on the waiting list, and it's growing very fast. I mean, that's actually how we do expansion. So we look at speed of growth for the waiting list, so indication of demand.
That's really my last question. Is there anything we missed, anything you want to talk about? Any last questions or any last points you want to make?
Well, I don't know, maybe a few more advices for entrepreneurs. I think in fintech it's key to build the product in a very systematic way, because there are so many complexities with the regulation. So unless you can build it in small blocks and ensure that these blocks are compliant with the regulation, it's very hard to be compliant overall. And given it's a regulatory business, you as an entrepreneur must be compliant, and makes things very tough if you're not.
Well, that's it for me and for Nick. Thank you very much, Nick. I love doing this with you, and hope to do it again soon. Thank you, everybody.